Okay, good morning everyone. We are continuing here in Tehillim, and we are starting a new parak today, a new kapitel of Tehillim. This is Samech Aleph, number 61. And Rav Hirsch writes in his little brief introduction over here to this Tehillim, that if we think about about the last one, number Samech, number 60, it was speaking a lot about the military prowess of Dovid HaMelech. We spoke about him being the warrior. We spoke about the world of Klal Yisrael before Dovid was the king and after Dovid was the king. How he was able to bring the emunah to Klal Yisrael and be able to show the people that Hashem is the one that is fighting the battles. We spoke about last week that that really every single nisayon, every challenge that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will put a person through, it's all there just to be misroimim, to elevate the person and bring them to a higher place. This, the way that Rav Hirsch describes this Tehillim over here, it almost sounds like it's after Dovid HaMelech has left the battlefields. It might even be the way that he describes it, even after Dovid HaMelech is no longer in this world, but rather he leaves over a legacy for all of Klal Yisrael to grab onto. And that he says is that if you look at the beginning words, Lanatzech al Neginas LeDavid, which means that Hashem grants victory to the Neginas, to the tones of the song, and a psalm of David. What is the song over here? So he writes that the musical gifts that Dovid HaMelech impacted Klal Yisrael with are far more significant than any of the achievements that Dovid had when he was a king who was known as a premier warrior. And the music, the neginais that we're describing over here, of course, are the Tehillim, are the words of the Psalms themselves that Dovid HaMelech left over, not only in his generation, where people were able to hear the beautiful music of David, but rather he left over Tehillim to be a part of Klal Yisrael for all of the generations. And as he writes over here, that Dovid HaMelech secured the land for his people by his bravery, but that land had long since fallen into the hands of enemies. And now the nation, Klal Yisrael, goes into Gullus, they go into exile, they are scattered from one end of the world to the other, very far from the homeland of Eretz Yisrael. However, David's message and his life and what he stands for, that lives on immortally, and his spiritual influence extends over all of the generations through the musical power of his divinely inspired psalms, his Tehillim, which he sang to move the minds and the hearts of the people. Dovid HaMelech, as we pointed out many times over the years that we're learning Tehillim together, in the most unlikely of circumstances, when you would be expecting a person to be crying and wailing and mourning over their losses and examining the troubles of their life and feeling pitiful for themselves, Dovid HaMelech constantly turned the difficulties into song. He was always running from the enemy, and yet he's writing Tehillim where he is singing the praises of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, like we said even last week, where he recognized that every little thing that Hashem is going to put him through is only for his benefit, to be mizraimim, to elevate him and make him greater, as we will see in the words today of our Meforshim. But those Tehillim that are left over thousands of years later, which are still on the lips and in the heart of Klal Yisrael, is the music to our ears. It's the niggin, it's the song of our soul that is also going to carry us over the challenges that we will encounter in our own lives. The battlefield was for the time and the generation of Klal Yisrael when David was leading them in against their enemies. When they won, so they were victorious, they won the battles, and they were able to keep that land and conquer that land for themselves. Eventually, says Rav Hirsch, the land they were defeated, it was taken away, and Klal Yisrael, as we see throughout the generations, kicked out of their homeland, sent into the Gullus, into the exile, and they disappear from the land of Eretz Yisrael. But the message and the nigun and the song of Dovid HaMelech, the sweet words of Tehillim that can drip off the lips of a Jew anywhere in history, those words were never taken away. And that courage and the mighty warrior, the spiritual warrior that Dovid HaMelech was, that battlefield is never destroyed. That is never won by our adversaries and our enemies. Rather, because that we have Tehillim, and because we understand what it is that a Jew could accomplish under every single circumstance, therefore the songs that he sang originally, which were here to move the minds and the hearts of his people at that time, it still is very applicable for our generations and our people as well. And therefore he writes that the word neginos, or neginas, it denotes tones of a song inspired and suited for all various situations of physical and spiritual life. That is Tehillim. Tehillim is the whole Sefer is just one long nigun, one long song of beauty, which it comes from the depths of the neshama of Dovid HaMelech, which we said his neshama and his challenges encompassed all of Klal Yisrael, which means that whatever nisyonos you are going through today, on January 15th of 2023, or on the Hebrew calendar, we would call it the 22nd day in the month of Teves of Tavshin Pei Gimel, you should know that David had them in mind when he was writing his music, when he was writing his songs. And that's why if you open your mouth and you open your heart and you let the words of Tehillim roll off of your lips so beautifully, and you muster up a few tears here and there while you are saying them, so these are the songs, these are like the battle cries that Dovid HaMelech left over in the music that he sends for all generations. And he writes that it's only in a life that is filled with change, with trials and suffering, as well as with moments of exaltation, that David could amass the wealth of understanding of Hashem and gather the spiritual experience that qualified him to be the singer of Hashem's praises for all generations to come. Now Rav Hirsch is saying an amazing thing over here. It's obviously a theme that we've spoken about a lot, but he's saying it's specifically because Dovid HaMelech knew success, but at the same time Dovid HaMelech knew failure. He knew challenge. He knew suffering. He knew pain. He knew simcha. He knew joy. He knew celebration. He knew royalty. But he also knew what it meant to be down in the dumps, to be running away from your enemies, even if they're your own children in your house. He knew what it meant to be hiding out in a cave in the middle of the night, reeling in a fever, and not sure if he's going to make it till the morning time. That Dovid HaMelech, the one who was able to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu when there was good, and he was able to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu when there were challenges, that is the Dovid HaMelech that is able to write the beautiful music of Tehillim, that's going to express and to be able to sing and be able to give over to Klal Yisrael, that no matter where you are, no matter what is going on in your life, you might be walking your child down to the chuppah, or you might be sitting by the bedside of a loved one in a hospital room. You might be celebrating the bris of your child or your grandchild. Or you might be hearing somebody on the other end of the phone crying because they have no parnasa to pay the bills this month. Says Dovid HaMelech, it is precisely a person that understands the hidden heights of simcha, but also knows the lowliness of despair. That is the person that is able to sing the nigun. They're able to sing the song, the divinely inspired Tehillim, to the Ribbono Shel Olam. And therefore, says Rav Hirsch, that is the backdrop of this particular Tehillim. As I'm saying, it almost sounds like Rav Hirsch is learning that this is after the Dovid HaMelech was in the world. It's post death of Dovid HaMelech, where he's able to leave over the legacy of what he tried to transmit to the people, and that is Simcha, you praise Hashem. And when there's hardship, you learn how to praise Hashem as well. In the good times and in the quote-unquote bad times, in the times of joy and in the times of suffering, in the times of health and in the times of sickness, in the times of revelation and exaltation, in the times of destruction, there's only one address that a Jew is going to open their mouths and reach out to, and that's all the Rebbeinu Shalom. No matter what is going on in a person's life, our mission is to thank and to praise and to call out and to cry and to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to bring us close. And if we look in the words of the Malbim, as he begins to describe the beauty of this Tehillim, he says, Mizmor zeh rachash libay davar tov. With this particular Tehillim, Dovid HaMelech was rachash. He brought in, he inherited something very good. V'yomer, and he said, Ki bein biyoisa nirdaf mimnei Shaul. Whether I'm being chased, I'm being pursued by my enemy, Shaul HaMelech, my father-in-law, ubein be'ez hatzlachasa, or whether it is a time of success, she'egila malchus, when I reached the kingdom, I'm the monarch of Klal Yisrael. Achas Shoal v'achas bikesh. There's only one thing that Dovid HaMelech asked for, and there's only one thing that he requested. Sheyeshev tamid beveis Hashem la'avdai, that he should sit and dwell in the house of Hashem to be able to serve the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's all that was on the mind of Dovid HaMelech, no matter what was going on. I should not be carried away too much by the simcha that I'll forget I'm supposed to serve Hashem, and I should not be crushed by the blows of suffering of my enemies and forget that it's all about sitting in the house of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and serving Him. And therefore, says the Malbim, like we said earlier in Tehillim Chav Zayin 27, many moons ago, there's only one thing that I ask Him HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and in that I will continue to ask for. Shifti beveis Hashem, to dwell in the house of Hashem, kol yemei chayai, all the days of my life. That is what Dovid HaMelech wanted. All of the days means every single day, means no matter what was going on. It's not just when I'm happy I'm going to dwell in the house of Hashem. When I'm in a good mood I'll come to shul. No, it's kol yemei chayai, all the days of my life, every single day of my life. No matter what is going on in front of me, no matter what is going on behind me, no matter what's going on beside me, no matter what's happening in my life, shifti beveis Hashem. I want to ensure that I am sitting and dwelling in the house of the Rebbeinu Shalom, that I'm basking in His glory, that I am developing my dveikus, my closeness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sometimes it is moments of great simcha and elation that will bring me close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which a person should bless, should be grateful to the Rebbeinu Shalom that it has such simcha in their life. That's one thing that will bring you close to Hashem. You have to pinch yourself every once in a while to say, is this really happening? Is this really true? Is this really me? This is my mishpacha. This is the nachas that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving. Pinch yourself and cry out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and say, thank you Hashem for everything that you're doing. But there are other times, says the Malbim, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will act in a different way. He'll come from a different angle. And those might be trying times, tribulations, the vicissitudes of life that a person is going to have to endure. And at that time as well, a person has to humble themselves in the face of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and realize, Hakol b'yidei shamayim, everything is coming from the Rebbeinu Shalom. And if everything is coming from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then this too, Hashem, I'm obligated to praise you and to talk to you and to ask you for your help. And I don't want that Chalila, because of the burden that I am under, that I'm going to have to leave the Beis Hashem, the house of Hashem. As we learned in that Tehillim of Shifti Beveis Hashem Kol Yemei Chayai, Rav Hirsch wrote over there, he writes over there, is Dovid HaMelech saying that he doesn't want to leave the Beis HaMidrash? Is Dovid HaMelech saying, I'm going to stay in the walls of the yeshiva all day long, I'll never do anything else? Dovid was Melech Yisrael, he was the king of Klal Yisrael. He had battles to fight, he had a country and a nation to run. He had much important business that he was responsible to take care of. How could Dovid HaMelech say, I'm always going to be in the house of Hashem? How could it be that when Dovid is going through the greatest trials that a human being could encounter, he says, I'm just going to dwell in the house of Hashem. You're running in the middle of the forest at night. It's freezing, it's cold, you're sick, there's enemies chasing after you. How are you saying sitting in the house of Hashem? And if you recall, Rav Hirsch said at that time that Dovid HaMelech realized that wherever a person goes in life, whatever they encounter, whatever they must be a part of, whether it is the simcha or the challenges, whether it is a bar mitzvah, a chasana, a bris, a kiddush, a pidyon haben, or a shidduch that was just made, or it's a levaya, or visiting someone who's sick, or having grief in the house. Everything that a person goes through in life, if I do it in the right way, then I am able to say that I'm shifti beveis Hashem. I'm sitting in the house of Hashem, because if the purpose of life is to get closer to the Ribbono Shel Olam, everything in my life can bring me closer. It all depends how I'm going to accept it, how I'm going to look at it, how I'm going to deal with it, how I'm going to overcome it, how I'm going to embrace it, how I'm going to accept it, how I'm going to believe that everything that's happening is the Borei Olam, is the creator and the master of the universe. And therefore I could be in the yeshiva and I'm sitting in the house of Hashem learning His Torah. I could be at the simcha, at the chasana. I could be overwhelmed with gratitude to the Ribbono Shel Olam, and therefore there's a tremendous dveikus, a closeness that I have to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm sitting in the house of Hashem. I could be like a Dovid HaMelech. I could be going through the greatest trials and tribulations that I ever imagined in my life. But I'm getting closer and closer to Hashem, like we said last week. I'll utilize the nisyonos of my life to elevate and raise myself up. And then I'm sitting in times of difficulty and perhaps challenging, troubling times. But because that I'm getting closer to the Borei Alma, the master of the universe, therefore I'm sitting in the house of Hashem. Says Dovid HaMelech, that is what he's asking for over here in this negina, in this song that he is singing. And the Malbim goes on further and he writes, Unechalek lebeis chalakim, there are two parts to the life of Dovid HaMelech. Chelek echad, the first one is Mashaya b'yemei onyoy, when the days of his affliction, Dovid HaMelech wanted to sit in the house of Hashem when he was being afflicted. V'chelik beis al yemei atzlachosai, and the second portion in the life of Dovid is the days of his smashing success, when he was the king, when he's fighting wars and battles, when he's getting great prestige and honor throughout the people, and they're all behind Dovid HaMelech. There's two lives of Dovid HaMelech, and this the Malbim is saying it's two lives of every person. No one's going to live in the world of simcha, of happy occasions all day long, but no one's going to live in the world of trouble and defeat all day long either. It's going to be constantly, the pendulum will always be swinging, and we hope that there'll be more of the simcha than there will be of the grief in one's life. But no matter where that pendulum of life is swinging, a person has to recognize, I'm shifti beveis Hashem, I am dwelling in the house of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's the next pasuk. Shema Elokim Ninasi HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Listen to my Rina. Rina is like a song. Listen to my song. Hakshiva tfilosi. Pay close attention to my tefillah, to my prayer. Listen to the words of the Malbim. Shima Elokim Rinasi Hashem. Listen to my Rina. Rina is a song. When David HaMelech was in the lowest state, when he was in trouble, when he was running from the enemy, when life did not look very promising, David HaMelech was mekoinen. He began wailing out to the Ribbono Shel Olam. But that's called a rina. That is called a song. When a person, in whatever situation they will find themselves in, realizes that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is right there, and he's listening, and I just have to call out to him, and he's going to hear my voice, and he's going to help me. That's the rina, that is the song of life, and it's not a dirge. It's not a sad song. You don't have to sit around in a rainy day with a cup of hot chocolate and look out the window and cry because life is so miserable. Chalila v'chas. David HaMelech didn't do that with himself. On the other hand, it's Rinasi. He's singing a song to the Ribbono Shel Olam for all that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does for him. Hazina tfilasi. Listen to my prayer. Mashem yispalil. In the second part of David HaMelech's life, in the successful days and months and years of his life, when everything was going grand as the king of Klal Yisrael, then David HaMelech offers his tefillah, he offers his prayer to Hashem. This is the exact opposite of the way that we would approach the challenges and the good success in one's life. If you would ask us to write these words of Tehillim, we would write the following. When I'm in my times of distress and things are not going well, I say, please, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, listen carefully to my tefillah. I must pour out my heart in prayer to you, and please accept my prayers on high and rescue me and save me and change the situation that I find myself in. And when things are going well, Ribbono Shel Olam, when I have success, when I have blessing, when everything is good in my life, then listen to Rinasi, listen to my song of praise that I'm singing to you. Because I'm so I'm exuding happiness, I'm so excited. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you make everything so wonderful. Listen to my heartfelt song of praise and gratitude to you. But David HaMelech, the tzaddik Yisod Olam, who understood what a real relationship with Hashem is, he says the exact opposite. And that is, Shema Elokim Rinasi, Ribbono Shel Olam. I am going through difficult times. Things are not working out the way that I would like them to. There's distress in my life. Things are crushing around me on all sides. I don't know where my salvation is going to come from. How am I going to get through this? Says David HaMelech, Rinasi, listen to my song, Ribbono Shel Olam. If I can't sing to you now, when will I ever be able to sing to you? I sing my praises, Hashem. I sing a song of hope. I sing a song of consolation, of salvation. I sing a song that says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you are the one that is going to help me. You are the one that is sustaining me. You are the one that is holding my hand throughout all of the difficulties and the nisyonos that I'm going through. Shema Elokim Rinasi, Elokim, the God of judgment. That's what I'm going through right now. It's harsh what I'm being put through. Nevertheless, Rinasi, I'm not going to stop singing to you, Hashem. I will sing to you. I will exalt you. I will ask for you to come and to help me and hold my hand tight and push me through every step that I have to go through. And then when it comes to my success, on that, says David HaMelech, Ha'azino tfilasi, listen carefully to my tefillah, my prayers, my praises of you, Ribbono Shel Olam, my gratitude, my tefillah, my prayer of praise and gratitude, thanking you for the chasana, for the bris, for the pidyon haben, for the kiddush, for the shidduch, for the health, for the miraculous recovery. Thank you, Ribbono Shel Olam. Listen carefully to my tefillah, how I begin to describe every little detail of all of the brachas that you brought to me. I'm not missing anything, Hashem. I am grateful. I'm a grateful Jew. Please listen to my tefillahs, how I express it to you, Hashem. And so Dovid HaMelech teaches us, our Yid is the exact opposite of what we would have thought. When we are in struggling times, don't break at that point. Sing out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when things are going well, that's when you buckle down in your tefillah. Don't take it for granted. Don't let the excitement and the simcha and the joy come and let it go away to the next day. Keep davening and saying, thank you, Hashem. Baruch Hashem, everything is incredible. You're amazing, Ribbono Shel Olam. Go to the Kaisel, say a nishmas, elok nishmas to the Ribbono Shel Olam. Thank him from the depths of your heart and your soul for all the good that he does. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. Says weiter a little bit in this Tehillim over here. Miktzei ha'aretz elecha ekra. If I call out to you from the ends of the earth, ba'atoiv libi b'tzor yorum, my heart will be in shrouds or will be enshrouded. B'tzor yorum mimeni, you will lead me to a rock that is really too high for me, sancheni, but you will bring me up to that place. So the pasuk says, if I'm going to call out to you from the ends of the earth, when my heart shrouds itself, as we shall see in the Meforshim. So what are you going to do? I'm surrounded by darkness, says Dovid HaMelech. What's going to be with me? You, Ribbono Shel Olam, you will lead me to a rock that is too high for me to reach. I can't get there on my own. However, Sancheni, you're going to help me to get to that place that I need to be. Says the Malbim on these words. The Malbim writes, we'll see the Malbim on the next pasuk. Says Rav Hirsch, on these words, the following, such a beautiful idea. And he says that I've lost my communion, my connection to my people, and I call upon you as one who is in exile from the borders of the land. Dovid HaMelech, again, the way that Rav Hirsch is learning over, it's almost like Dovid is not even here anymore. But now he's saying that Dovid HaMelech is on the run once again, and he's at the ends of the earth. And he's detached from his nation, from his people, from Eretz Yisrael. He says, my spirit is devoid of strength. It shrouds itself, and I'm overcome by physical anguish and spiritual weakness. What a terrible state of being for a person to be in. When a person feels all alone, when a person doesn't feel the smicha, the support of the Ribbono Shel Olam, when they feel exasperated, they feel tired. You know that headache that people walk around with sometimes? What's that headache? Why do you have a headache? We have headaches because we're spent, we're drained. We tried this, we tried that, we worked on this, we worked on that. And a person feels, I'm just so far from where I want to be. I've got this headache, I feel so heavy, so down. I'm devoid of physical strength because I'm in physical anguish, and I have spiritual weakness. Then I realized, says Dovid HaMelech, that all my suffering was intended to lead me up to a height which I could never have scaled had I been left to myself without the purifying force of pain. Beautiful words of Rav Hirsch, which is in line with everything that we've said up until this point. Dovid HaMelech was saying, I'm broken. I'm so weak. I'm heavy. I'm downcast. I've anguished physically. And my spiritual self is weak. What am I going to do? Until he realized that the reason that HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings all of this purifying force of pain is because it will lead me to a height in my life and in this world that I could never ever reach on my own. I would never become the tzaddik that I became would it not be for this crushing blows that you gave to me, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I would not have overcome my ego. I would not have overcome my bad midas. I would not have become greater in my world of Amunah had it not been for what you put me through, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I was coasting along. Everything was fine. I'm a good Ehrlich Jew. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, yeah, but you could do so much more. You could become so much greater. You could reach higher heights than you're on right now. And therefore, says Dovid HaMelech, I finally realized, I chapt, as they say, I understand that what you are putting me through is for my benefit because it's allowing me to scale the heights of a wall, of a ladder of Avodas Hashem that I would never be able to do on my own. And when it says in the pasuk Ba'atoif, my heart shrouds itself in a state of spiritual vigor. The body is controlled by the mind, which flashes forth from the eyes and is visible to the outside world. When you are strong spiritually, so we know that the eyes are the windows to the soul. And when your spirit, when your neshama is steiging, is growing inside of you, and it's working hard, and it's getting stronger, and more passionate, and more and greater inside. So it flashes out through your eyes. When you look at the face of a person, a tzaddik of a person, their face is always, there's a glow, there's a kedusha that is there. Where's that coming from? That's coming from the neshama that's resting right here on their face, that's coming through their eyes. And the world can see that. The world can see the radiance of such a person. What's the radiance? The radiance is when I buckle down under the pressure and I realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing this for my benefit because He wants me to be greater. So then a person becomes a lofty individual. But if the spirit is weak and it's cast down, then it begins to withdraw, as it were, hiding behind the physical element. Then you look at the face, it's lifeless. There's nothing there. There's just a groggy person just moping around the world, dragging their feet, going through the motions of life. And that enshrouds it so that it will not be recognized. Then the body's enshrouding the soul. You can't even see the neshama anymore that is there. It's a weakening of the spirit. That's why it's called Atoif, because it enshrouds the body, the physicality, the pressures of this world will enshroud a person's neshama, and they will not be able to express it in the beautiful way that they could. So that is, of course, all up to us. It's all up to a person how they're going to deal with the deck of cards that HaKadosh Baruch Hu deals a person in his life. In the simchas, we thank the Ribono Shel Olam. In the difficulties, we sing our song of hope to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When things are not going well, don't get lost in the things that are not working out, because if you do, it's going to bury and cover the neshama that is there, and you're going to feel like a spiritual weakling. When a person says, I just don't have the strength to overcome, it means that you gave in too much. We gave in too much to the physical pressures. We gave in too much to the challenges and the nisyonos. We gave in too much to the hardships, and therefore become weaker and weaker and weaker. But, says Rav Hirsch, Dovid HaMelech realized, if only I will recognize in all nisyonos that I go through, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing it on purpose, because He wants me to reach a rock that is too high for me to reach on my own. Tancheni, like it says in the pasuk, Hashem, you'll pick me up, you'll lift me up, and you'll put me over there. And then I'm going to be in a place of height, spiritual height, that I never dreamed that I would reach. And the next two verses, Ki ayisa machseli, you have become a refuge for me. Migdal oiz mibnei oyev, you are a tower of fortitude in the face of the enemy. Agura ba'alecha, I will endeavor to dwell in your tents, oilamim, forever. Echese b'seiser, even when I shall rest hidden beneath the shade kanafecha of your wings. Selah, I will trust in you, and I trust in all that you do. Says Rav Hirsch, and in the same vein that he's saying already, in such moments of anguish and weakness, I have come to know Hashem as a refuge and a source of spiritual fortitude in the face of all human foes. Where can a person turn when things are not going well in life? Where can a person turn when people are letting you down, and people will always let you down? Where can a person turn when things just don't seem to work out as planned? Where can you go? There's only one place, says Dovid HaMelech. I realized at that moment that you are my source of spiritual fortitude. I come and I embrace you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I seek shelter in you. And he says that this confidence enables me to live so that when my physical husk shall have died and will rest beneath the wing of Hashem, I may hope to remain immortal for all times to come. Ba'ayalecha, says Dovid HaMelech, I'm not going to be in this world forever. My body is not going to be here for all of eternity. At one point, after 120, I will leave this world. My body will go into the grave, and the body will no longer be there. So whatever I accomplish with my physical prowess in this world, meaningless at the time of death. But what will live on? What will remain? That is the spiritual fortitude that I have inside of myself. And therefore, that remains immortal. That lives on forever and ever. That is the legacy I'm able to pass down from generation to generation. These are the words of Tehillim of Dovid HaMelech. For thousands of years, they've been on the lips of the majority of Klal Yisrael, through thick and through thin, in good times and in bad times, in happiness and in struggles, in devastation and difficulties and horrors that the world was putting upon us. Tehillim were there. That means that Dovid HaMelech is immortal. Dovid HaMelech's song of hope, his songs of praise, his words of encouragement, they have stood the test of time and they last on forever. And that is, as he writes over here, that I would like to live ba'ayalecha, in your tents, in the sanctuary of Hashem on earth, as well as in every home in the world in which spirits turn heavenward, which means Dovid HaMelech wanted, while he was in this world, to live in the house of Hashem. But he wanted that his words would live on in every single Yiddish home, every single Jewish home, which every home is a Beis HaMikdash Ma'at, is a microcosm of the Beis HaMikdash, the house of Hashem. So a house that has a Sefer Tehillim, or 2 or 3 in it, and a woman who is devoted to saying her Tehillim every single day, and every once in a while, when she understands what she's saying, she even musters up a tear or two. She gives life to Dovid HaMelech. He is immortal and eternal because of that nigun, of that song that he sang for himself, and he passed it and he shared it on with all generations. We end up living the life that Dovid HaMelech set out in front of us, where a Jew realizes, like the Malbim is saying, there's never a time in my life when I don't call out to the Ribbono Shel Olam. Whether it is the times of struggle and difficulty, I'll sing, or whether it is the times of hatzlacha, of success, of happiness and joy, I will praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Says the Malbim over here, the following words, Agura ba'alecha ilamim, I will dwell in your tents forever. Hayikar tfilosi, my main prayer is, lo yal hatzlachas hazman, not that I'm asking you for success of what I'm going through right now, rak she'uchal lagor olam ba'oyel Hashem, but rather I want to live forever in the house of Hashem. Ulachasais betzel kanof of Selah, and to be protected by the wings of your Shechina. Siyum Ha'inyan, says Dovid HaMelech, that's the second part over here. Number one, that I'm not asking you that everything in my life should be hatzlacha, should be success, but rather wherever I am, whatever is going on, whatever I'm going through, I want to make sure that I'm ba'oyel Hashem, I'm in your tents, Hashem. I'm dwelling in your house. I'm living together with you. I'm not kicking you off. I'm not pushing you off. I'm not getting angry and perturbed with you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Rather, I am makabel, I accept on myself that the reason that you're doing this is because you're bringing me to a place that I can never reach before. So I say, thank you, Hashem. I sing you a niggin, I sing you a song that is dripping with hope and encouragement and devekis and getting close. And then that I want to be covered, I want to be concealed in your wings forever. That is that in also the hatzlachos, in the successes that I will go in life, I'm asking you to solidify those, to keep those strong. Yes, a person has to go through troubles, but it's important that a person has simchas also. Yes, there will be sickness, but a person also has to have health. A person might have poverty, they might have challenges in parnasa, but it's important that they have what they need to be able to live. And therefore I'm asking you, Ribbono Shel Olam, please, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please make it that I'm able to hold on to my strength, my spiritual strength, to live in the house of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Kol Yimei Chaye, all the days of my life, no matter what is going on. Says Rav Gamliel Rabinovich on these words. If you look in Rashi, Rashi says, Agur ba'alecha olamim, I want to dwell in your tents all of the time. Zacheni sha'adar b'shtei olamais. Let me merit, says Dovid HaMelech, that I should dwell in two worlds. Olam hazeh va'olam haba, this world and the world to come. Dovid HaMelech says, I want the bracha of two worlds. This world, I'm here right now. But I want to make sure that I will merit to have a world to come as well. How can a person be zeiche? How could they merit to live in two worlds? That's what it says in this Tehillim. Let me be covered, let me be concealed in the wings of your glory. When a person reaches a lofty level of amunah, of their belief, udevekis, and being close to Hashem, until you actually are margis, you feel that you are dwelling in the shade of the wings of the Ribbono Shel Olam. Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu keviyochav, HaKadosh Baruch Hu makif oisai mikol tzad. Hashem is surrounding us by all sides. V'kach yizke lodor b'shnei olamais, then you will merit to dwell in two worlds. That means even in this world, you're already living in Olam Haba, you're like living in the world to come. You don't have to wait to get into the world to come, to be in the world to come. If you are a person that is so infused with emunah, so infused with dveikus, being close, that you literally feel that every moment of your life you are covered, you are being overwhelmed with the glory of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you are being sealed up by HaKadosh Baruch Hu in your life. You're in His Dalet Amos, you're in His 4 cubits of existence. Says Rav Gamliel Rabinovich over here, then you are a person who's living in this world, but you are also in the world to come at the same time, because that is what the world to come is going to be. The world to come is going to be a world in which all of the troubles of this world, they leave us. And there's only one thing, it's the dveikis in the Ribbono Shel Olam. You can be Dovid, you can be close and cling to Hashem in this world. Ukemoishi Yedu me Abal Shem Tov Zechusai Yagan Aleinu, that this is what the Baal Shem Tov said, Shamadrega Hana'ale B'Yoser, the highest level that a person can reach, Be'emunihi, in their emunah, Sheyargish Ha'adam Shunimse Tzal HaKadosh Baruch Hu Keviyachol, when a person feels, I am living together with the Ribbono Shel Olam, Umakif Oisai Mikol Tzad, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu surrounds me from all sides. That is the madrega that we are striving for. It's not a tongue-in-cheek madrega of Amunah. It is not a hope and an aspiration that we'll never ever able to achieve. On the other hand, it's a reality. I want to live in a world in which I'm margish, I feel that I'm living with the Ribbono Shel Olam. I want to live in a world where I feel that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is surrounding me on all sides, that I am never walking down the street by myself. I am together with Hashem. No matter what situation I am going through, whether it is the greatest simcha in the world or the most devastating, stressful event of one's life, I know that I am margish, I feel HaKadosh Baruch Hu right here with me. I know that Hashem is the one that is surrounding me and supporting me and holding my hand and leading me to where I have to go. When a person lives like that, so there is no simcha that is greater than that, because you are dancing in two worlds. On one hand, you are down here in this physical, mundane world, Olam Hazeh. But since that you understand what Olam Hazeh is for and you use it in the right way, to lift yourself up, to elevate yourself, like we saw in the Meforshim, that you will reach places through the challenges of life that you never dreamed you would be able to reach before. So then you have reached a world called Olam Haba, called the world to come, even while you're living in this world, because you are living in a realm of Kedusha, you're living in a world of elevated Ruchnius, you're living in a world of Dveikus, where you are literally clinging and drawn after the Ribbono Shel Olam, because you recognize that everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does for you is that purpose made to be able to draw you closer and closer to Hashem, so that no matter what is going on in your life, you will always be zeicha, you will merit to sit in the house of Hashem, Kol Yemei Chayai, all of the days of our life. Have a wonderful week. May your rina, may your songs of hope to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and your tefillos, your prayers of praise and gratitude to Hashem, may they be on your lips at all times, as HaKadosh Baruch Hu bends down his ear to hear the beautiful words and the beautiful tefillos of prayers of his nation, that in every situation is trying our best to get closer and closer to Hashem. Have a wonderful week, everyone.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All the best, everyone.